It starts with a simple transaction, a cup of coffee, a morning routine like any other. The customer reaches for cash, but the cashier hesitates, eyes flickering toward the sign taped to the register. Digital payments only. There's a brief silence, before an apologetic shrug. Sorry, we don't take cash anymore. At first, it seems like a minor inconvenience. A quick scan of a phone, a flicker of approval, and the transaction is complete. Faster, easier, cleaner. But beneath this seamless exchange lies a shift more profound than most realize. In Sweden, only 8% of transactions still use physical currency. China's mobile payment networks have nearly eliminated paper money in major cities. Even in the United States, ATM usage has plummeted, and major retailers increasingly decline cash altogether. The trend is accelerating. Governments and financial institutions hail this as progress, an era of ultimate efficiency, where transactions are instant, theft is nearly impossible, and illicit activities become traceable. A world where every payment, every purchase, every financial decision is seamlessly integrated into a digital ecosystem. But with every gain, there's a loss. A beggar on the street holds a cardboard sign. No cash? Scan here. Small businesses scramble to pay transaction fees on digital sales. In the background, the quiet disappearance of ATMs signals a world shifting away from tangible wealth. The convenience is undeniable. But is something greater slipping through our fingers? If money no longer exists in a physical form, what happens when access is denied? What happens when transactions require permission? What happens when cash is no longer an option? Not long ago, cash was king. A folded bill, a handful of coins, tangible proof of wealth, an exchange between hands that left no trace. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, the shift began. Credit cards replaced wallets. Online banking reduced the need for brick-and-mortar institutions. And soon, a world where cash was once essential became a world where it was merely an option. Now, in many places, it's not even that. Sweden, one of the first nations to embrace a cashless society, has seen physical currency usage drop to single digits. In China, bustling markets that once thrived on paper money now rely entirely on QR codes. Even in the United States, where cash lingers in the margins, major retailers and small businesses alike are refusing it altogether. The infrastructure of money is changing, not through force, but through adaptation, convenience, and above all, technology. Governments and financial institutions celebrate this transformation. Without cash, transactions are instant and seamless, immune to theft, impossible to counterfeit. Digital payments leave behind precise records, aiding security, taxation, and crime prevention. Advocates argue that in a world of rapid innovation, clinging to cash is like insisting on using candles after the invention of electricity. But is progress always synonymous with improvement? Throughout history, money has evolved alongside civilization. Barter systems gave way to coins, coins to banknotes, banknotes to electronic transactions. The next step seems inevitable, a future where money is no longer something we hold, but something that simply exists in a vast, interconnected network. But with every step forward, something is left behind. A street musician plays on a busy corner, his open guitar case empty. A sign reading, "No cash? Tap to donate." A small-town diner, unable to afford digital payment fees, struggles to keep its doors open. Across the world, millions remain unbanked, shut out from a system they never had access to. The promise of a cashless society is efficiency, security, and convenience. But in a world where financial transactions are entirely digital, who holds the power? And more importantly, who gets left behind? A man walks into a grocery store, filling his cart with the usual essentials. At checkout, he taps his phone, expecting the familiar chime of approval. Instead, declined. Confused, he tries again. Same result. A notification appears, account frozen. Please contact your financial institution. He has no wallet, no cash, only the numbers on a screen. This is the hidden cost of a cashless world. Money, once a physical possession, is now entirely dependent on the systems that control it. A simple glitch, a clerical error, or an algorithmic flag can leave someone financially stranded. In extreme cases, access to money isn't just lost, it's taken away. Consider recent events. In Canada, during the trucker protests, financial institutions froze the accounts of demonstrators, cutting off access to their own funds. In China, social credit systems have already experimented with restricting travel, loans, and purchases based on behavior. What happens when the same mechanisms extend to daily transactions? There's also the issue of surveillance. Every digital transaction leaves a trail, creating a financial blueprint of a person's life, where they shop, what they buy, even the causes they support. In the name of security and fraud prevention, financial institutions track this data, selling insights, monitoring trends. Governments argue that transparency deters criminal activity, but for the average citizen, it means something else: the end of anonymity. Without cash, every financial decision is recorded, analyzed, and in some cases controlled. A business deemed high risk could lose access to its payment systems overnight. A person donating to a controversial cause might face unexpected scrutiny. Financial inclusion becomes financial dependence, and convenience comes at the cost of autonomy. But what if the system itself fails? A power outage, a cyber attack, or a banking collapse could instantly freeze an entire economy. Without a backup, without physical cash, there's no fallback. In an age where everything is connected, could this level of control ever be truly safe? The benefits of a cashless society are undeniable: speed, efficiency, security. But in a world where access can be granted or revoked, at the press of a button, one question remains: when money isn't something you hold, do you truly own it? A woman stands in front of a vending machine, her phone hovering over the scanner. She's hungry, tired, just looking for a quick meal. But the transaction won't process. A message flashes on her screen: insufficient social credit. It sounds like a dystopian fiction, but in parts of the world, financial systems are already merging with behavioral tracking. Algorithms decide loan approvals, flag suspicious spending, and in some cases, restrict access based on past actions. With a cashless society, financial inclusion is no longer a right. It's a privilege granted by those who control the system. Some see this as a necessary step toward order. Supporters argue that financial tracking deters crime, prevents fraud, and ensures fair taxation. Every transaction is accounted for, making money laundering, corruption, and tax evasion more difficult. What happens when an innocent person is flagged by mistake? When a glitch in an algorithm denies access to funds? Or when financial power is used as a tool of influence? A journalist investigating corruption suddenly finds their accounts frozen. A political dissident discovers their digital payments are mysteriously disabled. Even a minor misstep, an unpaid parking ticket, an overdue tax, could trigger restrictions that make daily life impossible. And then there's the deeper question: a government, a private corporation, an AI trained on endless data points, making invisible judgments about who is trustworthy and who isn't. In a cashless world, control over money is no longer in the hands of the individual. It belongs to the system. There's no denying the convenience of a world without cash. But when financial freedom is tied to compliance, where does that leave personal autonomy? If money can be restricted, altered, or erased, do we truly own it at all? A man sits in a dimly lit cafe, scrolling through his phone. His bank app is open, the numbers on the screen dictating his choices. Rent, groceries, a few small luxuries, each purchase approved, each movement tracked. Across the room, an elderly woman pays in cash, counting bills with steady hands. No digital footprint, no algorithm deciding her access. For now, both systems exist. But for how much longer? Throughout history, financial control has shifted, with technology reshaping economies and societies. But this moment is different. Never before has money been so deeply intertwined, with data, surveillance, and automation. A world without cash is not just a shift in payment methods, it's a shift in power. And yet, cash is already disappearing. Not by force, but by design. Stores reject it, banks phase it out, entire nations move forward without it. Few protest, because few notice until it's too late. Could a cashless society function without compromising autonomy? Could regulations, safeguards, and decentralized alternatives ensure financial freedom in a digital world? Or is this shift inevitable? A future where convenience trumps control? The cafe closes. The man walks outside, and for a brief moment, he hesitates. A street musician plays on the corner, a small sign beside him. No cash? Tap to donate. He pulls a bill from his pocket, the last one he carries, drops it into the case, and walks away. In the end, the question isn't just whether cash will survive, it's whether we'll notice when it's gone. This video has come to an end, but the discovery continues. Check out more content on the channel and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching.